What's up, everybody? Man, it's your boy, Mr. Dugai, coming at y'all with another video, man. And today I am going to preview and predict Saturday's divisional round matchup. You have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the San Francisco 49ers, yo. Before I get into this video, man, for everyone, if you want to give me a follow on Instagram or if you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, I'm gonna have my Instagram and my Facebook information down in the description box. Come give me a follow on the gram. Come send me a request on the book. Come holler at your boy, yo. Here we are, man. Not the matchup people thought they would see in the second round. Minnesota Vikings, man, coming off of a very, very impressive road win against the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Extremely tough place to play, a very great team. And, the Vikings got it done, man. They led by, of course, man, quarterback Kirk Cousins, who, he's had his moments, he had his ups and downs, but, he should be, gloating with a lot of confidence after, making those big time throws down the stretch in New Orleans. Running back Dalvin Cook, man. Dalvin Cook looks healthy out there. And a healthy Dalvin Cook is a difference maker, for this Minnesota Vikings offense. Looks like a healthy Adam Thielen also is making can make a huge difference for this Minnesota Vikings offense, as he had a side, with the exception of the fumble early in the game, had a solid game in New Orleans. Stephon Diggs, he didn't get targeted too much in New Orleans, but we all know he's a very, very good and very capable wide receiver. On the defensive side of the ball, man, Danielle Hunter, former LSU Tiger, man, is having a breakout, is having a second straight breakout season. Came up with a big strip sack against Drew Brees in New Orleans. Eric Kendricks, man, what a player, man. Just a big time, one of the best linebackers in all of football, doing this thing. And of course, in the secondary, man, they have, Harrison Hitman Smith, who is one of the better safeties in all of football. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers, man, of course, they're coming off of their first round bye. Home field advantage throughout the NFC. Offensively, man, they led by quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who, another guy who has his moments, but, he's been pretty solid, down the stretch. They got a trio of running backs, man. Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, and Matt Breida. All those guys run at least a 4-4. But the guy to me that makes that whole offense go, man, is tight end George Kittle, who I personally think is the most complete tight end in all of football, man. That guy is just absolutely amazing, man. Defensive side of the ball, man, they got the two young rush pass rushers on the line, and and Nick Bosa and DeForest Buckner. Those guys could really get after the quarterback, man, and wreak havoc on that D line. It looks like they may get former LSU Tiger Quan Alexander back at linebacker, which would be a boost for them. And in the secondary, man, they led by the veteran himself, man, Richard Sherman, who has had a fountain of youth type of season, been one of the better cornerbacks in football, yo. Now when you look at this matchup, man, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings offense against the 49ers defense, you would think up in the trenches that the 49ers would have a little advantage over the Vikings. When you consider those guys, DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa, if D Ford is out there, going up against that Vikings offensive line, who is a little better than they've been in the past, but not quite, one of the better offensive lines in football. So you would think that, especially being at home, you would think the 49ers could really get after the Vikings. When you look at Kirk Cousins, going up against that 49ers secondary, he has a chance to make plays, man. Lately, the 49ers have been giving up a lot of big plays in the passing game. Early in the season, they was extremely dominant, but they have kind of been leaking all a little bit defensively, man. As quarterbacks, have kind of been picking them apart a little bit. And the Vikings got guys like, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs that are more than capable of making plays. But obviously, the key to the Vikings, man, is Dalvin Cook. look. He looks healthy. He looks like he's ready to roll. If Minnesota comes out and runs the football with him and uses play action with Kirk Cousins, who is one of the best play action pass quarterbacks in the National Football League, the Vikings offense could move the ball a lot more than people think they will, yo. When you look at the other side of the ball, man, the 49ers offensive line against the Vikings defensive line. The Vikings defensive line has looked like they kind of caught their stride a little bit, man. Danielle Hunter, we all know that he's been a big time player, but it looks like Everson Griffin has arisen from being quiet. Big time performance by him in New Orleans, and I like the new little stunt that Mike Zimmer did. I don't know if he gonna do this against the 49ers, where on passing situations he put Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin inside, to get to the quarterbacks. The Vikings, if they play like they did against the Saints, man, their D line could get to Garoppolo a little bit. You look at the Jimmy Garoppolo going up against the Vikings secondary. He got some really, besides Emmanuel Sanders, who I think has been just tremendous since he been in San Francisco. They got some young receivers, man. Deebo Samuels look like he could be a star in the making. Barn, has had some nice moments. They're going up against a veteran secondary, man, and Xavier Rhodes, who hasn't had a great season, but, played decent, on Sunday. And of course, the big time safety Harrison Smith. But with them, they're going to have to try to find a matchup for George Kittle, because ain't no really safety or linebacker or anybody could completely cover George Kittle, man. But I'm going to say this, the Vikings do have Eric Kendricks, man. Eric Kendricks is one of the better linebackers in football. Whether they try to keep him in on the run game or give him or Harrison Smith opportunities to try to cover George Kittle. The Vikings got personnel to make it a little difficult, man. Yeah, like, time for my prediction, man. It's gonna be kind of crazy, man. The 49ers have been amazing this season. Number one seed in the NFC. Some big time wins, man. Destroying the Green Bay Packers at home, who, by the way, beat the Minnesota Vikings twice. Huge win on the road in New Orleans in the Superdome in a complete shootout. Beating the Seahawks the last game of the season to earn the number one overall seed. The 49ers have had an amazing season. Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, Emmanuel Sanders, George Kittle, all I think basically is a superstar. Nick Bosa on the D line, DeForest Buckner. The 49ers are big time, man. And I had people on my live ask me who I thought would win this game. And yesterday I said the 49ers just off of the top of my head. I had time to really think this game through today, man. The Vikings are an extremely talented football team, man. Like, when you look at the wide receivers and running backs and tight ends and pass rushers and linebackers and some guys in the secondary, the Vikings are very talented, man. And for me, it's something about the way that they went on the road and beat a New Orleans Saints team that, is coming in with a huge chip on their shoulder from the way the last two seasons ended for them against a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, and one of the best coaches in the National Football League. That kind of resonated with me a little bit. And when I look at the fact that, this also is Jimmy Garoppolo's first playoff game. This is Kyle Shanahan's first playoff game as a head coach. 49ers are young. They're talented. I don't think they're going nowhere. But I got a surprise, man. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to shock the world on Saturday. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to go to Levi's Stadium, and I think they're going to pull out a hard-fought football game on the road again. I got the Minnesota Vikings upsetting the San Francisco 49ers 28-27. I just think this team is finding their stride. I think this team is extremely talented. I think this team is most of these players, went on the NFC Championship game run just a couple of years ago. I think Kirk Cousins is going to go into that game extremely confident. Um, yeah, I got the Vikings winning this game, man. I didn't think I would pick the Vikings yesterday, but today when I sat down and really evaluated this game, I'm like, the Vikings could really, I think, are going to do this, man. Final score, I have Minnesota Vikings 28, San Francisco 49ers 27. The Minnesota Vikings surprise everybody and get to the NFC Championship game. But we'll see how it play out. Hey, 49er fans, if I'm wrong, after the game, feel free to troll me. But with that being said, man, that's all I got for y'all today. Appreciate y'all checking out the video. Go on, hit the like button for your boy and give me a subscribe, man. I'm going to have Philadelphia Eagles and NFL content throughout the year. Also, this coming Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to do a live Q&A. Y'all could come on there and ask me anything. Tell me anything. I'll answer your questions, respond to your comments, and give you a shout out on the live, yo. Y'all should join me in some good stuff. Until then, man, y'all have a blessed one. Fly, Eagles, fly.